Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another movie review with your boy GorTheMovieGod. That's this kid, and as you can tell, I am a fat nerd. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. I'm covered in nerd shit. Look at this. Look at all this nerd stuff. Look at the background. Samurai Jack. Picture of me. I'm a dickhead. I'm a horrible human. So, I don't know why I started this video like this. I'm a little out of it because I don't feel all that well, so I apologize if this is a very strange review, but I kind of want to start this review like that because I want to explain to you that I am the demographic for a movie like this, okay? I'm a fat loser, whatever, you know, I love nerd shit, that's great, but I can also see through the shit, okay? I can, you know, Pixels came out, I wasn't like, it's great because it has Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, so I can see through the shit, I can see through the Matrix and see the good. Okay, I could see the good. And I was really looking forward to this movie. What movie am I going to talk about? Well, I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's adaptation of the not classic, it just came out a few years ago, but soon-to-be classic book, Ready Player One. Again, I'm not feeling all that great, so I apologize if this review is very, very bad. Like, I didn't get much sleep because I have a stuffed nose and I have a sore throat, so that really interferes with me sleeping, so that sucks. But I went into this energized. Don't get me wrong, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I was excited, so I was like, you know what, screw, I didn't get that much sleep, I don't care, I'm energized. Ooh, I can't wait for this, okay? And I'm just gonna tell you straight off the bat, because I'm gonna do a spoiler review for this movie with a few friends of mine, so look forward to that. That'll probably be up tomorrow, most likely, but maybe later tonight, we'll see. But I was really looking forward to this. I'll just tell you straight off the bat, it did not disappoint for me. It was a blast. And now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's because it had tons of references, right? Oh, yeah, Harley Quinn's in it. You see Harley Quinn for 4 seconds. Oh, you see the Turtles for a few seconds. You see Iron Giant. That's why you liked it, right? I mean, that was all great stuff. I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed that they didn't hammer it in your face like, oh, references just every 5 seconds, and I appreciated that. They gave you time to breathe. They gave the story itself time to breathe, so you don't feel like you're just being hammered in the face with like reference after reference, and I really enjoyed that. So when there was a reference, I really appreciated it because it felt like it was just building this world. Like, it was actually doing a good job with world building. Like, oh, these are all just real people playing these characters, just like that VR chat thing, and of course they Ugandan knuckles shit, like that's stuff that's happening now. So of course, if there's a real thing right now called VR chat where you're playing as all these different characters from video games, then this movie just makes sense that you'd see all these different characters. So it never bothered me, it really didn't. There were times, I will admit, where like a character says, that's a Gundam. That's not a spoiler, that's in the trailer, but like someone would say that's a thing, and that felt a little like, maybe that was for the kids that are watching it. They'll be like, I don't know what that is. So there's a character that says, it's that. And there's a few times where that happened. And I thought that was a little annoying. But besides that, whenever there's like in the background, you see a character, I'm like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Like, it's just building this world. And I appreciated that. And that is one thing I need to say. The world itself, the Oasis, the VR world in this, oh my god, I've never been so impressed with like, it's not even a city, it's an entire world. And sure, they don't show you every single aspect of this world because, of course, I'm sure, you know, the world itself is fractured up into tons and tons of different little like cities and whatever. It's a whole world, so you can't see every single thing, of course, but what they show you of it really does feel very well realized, and they nailed it when it came to the look of it. It was beautiful to look at. It reminded me of when Tron Legacy came out. Everybody's like, oh my god, this movie looks incredible. It really does remind me of that, except Tron Legacy had the unfortunate special effects here and there, especially when it came to the Jeff Bridges younger version of himself. If you watch it right now, it does not look that good. And you could say that, oh well, he's supposed to be a video game character, but why does none of the other video game characters in this video game look like that special effect? You know what I mean? If you watch that movie, you'll get it. But here, everything is a special effect when it's in the Oasis, and it never deters from the experience because you're never like looking at it going, this is just a long cutscene. Because the animations are very well done, the texturing, all that stuff, the emotions on the faces of all the characters is really good, and they don't spend too much time where you start getting a little you feel like you're starting getting a little bit too much into the world itself. They take you out sometimes and put you in the real world, and that is where some people will probably have complaints like, oh, the real world stuff is boring compared to the Oasis stuff, which is true. I mean, that's probably true in real life too. That in real life you have to go to work, file your shit, whatever, do your taxes. Here in the Oasis, you can just go around, go into a giant race where a T-Rex and King Kong is trying to kill you and stuff. So that is, I would say, technically true for real life as well. But the movie does a good job of not focusing too much on either side. You know, you get a little bit of the Oasis, then you get a little bit of the real world. And the real world stuff is benefited from a really good cast of characters and actors. Ty Sheridan plays Wade Watts, of course, who is the main protagonist, and he is really good in the role. I think he's a really likable actor, and he plays a really likable character. He is the, I guess, standard protagonist where he's the underdog in a way. He's just like some nobody that he has no parents. He's named in a way where he sounds like a superhero. He even makes reference to that. And that stuff is obviously self-referential, I guess, where it's just like, yeah, we made his character that kind of character for a reason, because there's so many movies and books and TV shows that have characters like this, and I thought they did a good job of expressing that in the movie, but also making him a likable character. And of course, Ty Sheridan did a great job. Again, I'm sorry, my nose is stuffed. I know I'm sounding really bad right now, but you hear that? Oh, you don't even know. You don't even want to know what I just swallowed. But anyway, hold on. I am a gross human. That is true. But technically, we are all gross humans. Is that a quote from something? I don't know. It sounds like I just quoted something, but I didn't. I'm sure David Cronenberg said that once, though. But anyway, so the characters are really likable. He's great. The girl that plays Artemis, Samantha, I think her real name is in the movie, and the actress's name is Olivia Cook, I believe. She's really good as well. Those two actually have a pretty damn good chemistry when it comes to relationship, because of course those two are in a romantic relationship. And I thought that was actually really well done for the most part. I never didn't buy it, I guess. The two actors were really good together when they're either the avatars or the real people in the movie, and I thought that was great. The supporting cast, for the most part, even if some characters don't get too much explanation to their characters, for the most part, everybody's played very well by the actors. I think Ben Mendelsohn as the main villain is a little bit generic, but I feel like the movie knows that, so they give him a couple of moments where they actually make him feel like a real person sometimes, and then there's times where they make him feel like a really over-the-top villain. And I liked him in the movie. I thought he was really good. I really like Ben Mendelsohn. I wish he would get away from types of movies like this where he plays the main bad guy. It reminded me so much of Rogue One and how he played that villain. Here it's a little bit more comedic, sure, but it still reminded me too much of that. So the supporting cast itself is really good, but the characters themselves, a lot of the smaller ones, like Wade's friends, you can see on the poster here, a lot of them don't really get too much screen time, and when they do have screen time, they're there for a gag or to punch someone. You know, I don't know. It's still good enough. I never had a problem with it. Like, the characters were likable enough, even when we didn't really know much about them. I was never really annoyed by it. They didn't annoy me. So I'm okay with that, even though I would like to see their characters fleshed out more if there ever is a sequel, which, I don't know, maybe this movie might do well, it might not do well. I have no clue. I have a feeling it's not going to do that well, especially with the budget. The budget's like $170 million. I mean, this movie's going to do extremely well in China. I could see this doing huge in China, but I guess we'll see this weekend. Hopefully it does well, because I really enjoyed it, by the way. I don't know if you could tell that I really enjoyed it, but I really had a great time. Alright, so the main characters are very likable. The visuals are absolutely outstanding. They are breathtaking. You can watch any trailer and know that. It's gorgeous to look at. All the different little characters, like you see Duke Nukem, you see Chucky from Child's Play, all these different characters, but they interweave them in a smart fashion, like I said earlier. They even interweave some of them into the plot that make them integral, which I enjoyed too. So I actually really liked all the reference stuff. Sure, it does get a little overwhelming at times, but I never found them distracting. I found them to be there for a reason. It made sense. If this was the real world and this was a real thing that existed, the Oasis, then this is how the VR world would most likely look like. I will say this. I wish the VR world looked a little bit brighter. it was very dark and dreary at times, which I get it, I guess, because that's how like a lot of VR worlds and movies are interpreted, like in Tron. But I would have liked it better if it was just a little bit brighter, just a little bit. There's times where it does get a little brighter and stuff, like during that race scene in the, I'm sure you saw in the trailer, there's a race scene in this movie where you see King Kong, you see a T-Rex and all this stuff, wrecking balls going around the city, and that stuff, you could tell what's going on. It's not like you can't see what's going on. It's like it's not too dark where you're just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. But I just feel like it would have popped better if it was brighter looking. I know that sounds like the stupidest ass complaint, but like, I mean, a lot of people complain about Batman v Superman in the same way, where it's like it's way too dark in tone and in visuals. But I don't know, that's just one complaint. That's a very small complaint, because it really didn't bother me that much. But there was times where I was just like, I wish this was a little bit lighter in color and brightness, I guess. But whatever. The real world stuff. I'm sorry, I really don't feel well, but I wanted to get this review out. All that stuff was solid. I will say it definitely is way less interesting than the Oasis stuff, but what really did work for it was the characters. The characters are still likable in the real world as they are in the Oasis world, so you still are intrigued and are wondering what's going to happen. There's a lot of cheese in this movie too. There's characters that come out of nowhere to just crack jokes and do silly things. There's nerd characters that are like that kind of nerd character, and I like that stuff. It's very cheesy and corny, but it really worked for the film. And yeah, I had a blast with it. I really did. So I really have not much else to say when it comes to like my positives. I guess there's one other thing. This of course is directed by Steven Spielberg, and I have to say this: Spielberg, when he does Spielberg right, he does Spielberg right. I mean, he is Spielberg, so he's the only one that could do Spielberg right. And this movie has so much heart to it and so much adventure, and like, I just had a great time watching this movie progress in its story. The story itself is simple. It's very simple. They have to find 3 keys, and when they find 3 keys, they can find the Easter egg, and whoever gets the Easter egg can control the Oasis. Mark Rylance made the Oasis, and I forgot his character's name. Holiday, that's his name. Holiday made the Oasis, and he died, and before he died, he made this game where you had to find 3 keys, you had to solve a bunch of challenges, and then if you get the 3 keys, you could bring them to something and find an Easter egg, and if you get the Easter egg, you get the Oasis, and you can control it. And I appreciated that stuff. I really, really liked all of the story elements like that. I mean, not generic. It's simple. It's very simple, but it works. It really does. And Steven Spielberg nails it in the tone and the heart. Like, the heart of the movie is so big. It really is. All the characters are really likable for the most part. And when there's actual touching moments, there's a moment at the end with Holiday's character that I'm not going to spoil. I'm just saying, it's a really touching moment. I really liked it. I was even like tearing up a little bit. So there's some really great moments that really capitalized because of Spielberg as a director. I feel like if it was anybody else, maybe J.J. Abrams could do the same thing, but if it was anybody else besides Spielberg and maybe J.J. Abrams, I feel like this movie would falter in the heart department, because it really does. It really does have a lot of charm to it and a lot of heart, and I really appreciated that. I'm going to stop saying heart because I know it's starting to sound weird. So, anything else, really? I will say the middle of the movie starts to lose a little bit of steam. Like, the first half, or not the first half, the first third of the movie is really great. Has a great, like, start, and the introduction to the Oasis and stuff, all that stuff is great. There's a part towards the middle where it starts to slow down. There is one really cool movie thing in there that I really enjoyed, and if you see the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about, which I thought was really funny and really, really interesting visually. But besides that, there's a lot of moments where, like, they add the Resistance in there, and there's a little bit of Resistance stuff, and I was like, it's starting to slow down a little bit. But then it picks up really hard towards the end. It ends perfectly. I thought it was a perfect ending for this kind of movie. But besides that, you know, the references maybe are a bit too much. The supporting characters aren't fleshed out enough, even though they're still likable. Don't get me wrong, they're still likable, but they're just not fleshed out enough to consider them excellent characters, you know? And in the middle, again, it loses some steam. But besides that, It looks gorgeous. The characters are still very likable, especially the main characters. The dialogue itself is well done for the most part, even though, like I said, there's a lot of times where characters just say, "It's that." Like, they just point out a reference and go, "It's that. Look, it's Iron Man." Not that Iron Man's in it. I'm just making shit up. But, there's Pikachu. Not that Pikachu's in it. Is he? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up. But, yeah, so there's a little bit too much of that. But for the most part, the dialogue is solid. Has a lot of that Spielberg adventure and heart that I really enjoy. The references are done well. The real world stuff is good, but the Oasis stuff is superb. I really enjoyed it. So Ready Player One is a great time. I highly recommend it if you are someone that was looking forward to it, but we're a little skeptical, like, is it going to be too much of that reference stuff? There is a lot of that, but it's not in your face. It really isn't. There's a lot of stuff in the background, and I'm sure there's going to be people like, no, look, there's a couple in the foreground that's in my face. I don't mean literally in your face, like in the foreground. I mean, like, there's no moment where a character looks at the screen and just, like, quotes something from their video game or their movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing there that I feel like was way too much. You know, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm sure someone's going to say, no, that was this and this and this was definitely way too much. I'm sure someone's going to say that, but I didn't think it was. So anyway, that's my review. That's my mainly spoiler-free review. I should have a spoiler review coming up very soon. I have to stop talking because my throat is sore, my nose is stuffed. Ugh. So I apologize. I know this was a very weak review, but please just give me a break. I apologize. But anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I'm going to give it... Oh, I really enjoyed that. I'm going to give it a 35 out of 40. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to see it again. I'm going to see it in that, like, 4D... No, what is it called? 4MXD or some shit? Like, I don't know. My theater has, like, some revolutionary way to watch a movie where they like, spray shit at you and stuff, and they move the chair. It's not D-Box, but it's, like, something a little bit better, supposedly. Like, if it starts getting hot in the movie, your seat starts to... heat up. If someone farts, then they fart in your face, you know, shit like that. So luckily nobody farts in the movie, so I don't need to worry about that. But yeah, so I'll be seeing that, and maybe I'll do a review for that just to talk about how well that experience is. But anyway, there you go. Thank you, and until next time, of course, goodbye.